Hello, everybody. We'll start in a minute. There's nothing wrong with your network. I'm the one not saying anything, and every other person is muted. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to set up the YouTube. So please just be patient while I set this up. Okay, Munachi, I'm trying to send the YouTube link to the champions so that you can just share it. So Munachi, please help facilitate that. Can you hear me, Munachi? Okay, so I think we can begin. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is let me start that again. Okay, so good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this call. My name is Toyin Bamidele, I'm mostly called Patel, and I am the convener of the Nestlings Playbook project in partnership with the Nest Hub. I am working with my partners to execute this project to seek intelligent and brilliant founders across university ecosystems so that they can get all of the support for them to explore their dreams. So in the next 1 hour or less, right, there are just four things that we're going to be discussing. Number one is I am going to share with you the story behind this project. Then I'm going to establish what this project is about. And then we're going to talk about what is going to happen next after this fall. And then what are the rules for engagement? Okay, Zipporah is saying she can't hear me. Who else is having issues? Can any other person hear me? Okay, people can hear me, so I think it's your network. It's totally fine. All of these sessions will be recorded. I understand you will have network issues. I understand there are days you will have classes or exams. I understand there are days where network will be bad. So these sessions are going. So these sessions are going to be recorded, and the recorded sessions are going to be shared with you. So in the comment section, you can just tell us where you're joining in from, rep your school. What is your name? What school are you applying from? And where are you currently listening from? I would like to know the people on the call. I would like to meet you. I would like to also be able to acknowledge you for joining this interesting project, right? So I'm going to be reading now. Okay, this is Akwe Ene Janet from Putmina. Thank you, Janet. I can see you. Okay, Favor joining from UNN. Thank you for joining. Abrel from Kantoma University. Chidera from Unizik. Wow, they're really energetic. The chat section is blowing up. I will not be able to fully, I will not be able to fully join in. Right, we had over 1,500 applicants, and I can see that most of you are on this call. So thank you so much for joining. I know it's a Saturday, so I appreciate you for sparing the time. So let's not waste too much time, right? Let's get into the business of today. So as I said, my name is Toyin Bamidele, and this interesting project started from when I was an undergraduate. I just finished university officially in 2020. So you can also take me as an undergraduate or as a recent graduate, right? And while I was in Obafemi Awolowo University, it just occurred to me that I needed to what is it? Sorry. But it's no, no, no. See, but the thing is that if that happens and they take like my off, just let me just finish this thing out. It's just 1 hour, 30 minutes. Thank you. All right, sorry about that distraction, right? So yes, this whole project started from a question, which is how can the undergraduate community be more part of the innovation ecosystem or the whole innovation bubble happening in Africa? Why do students have to graduate before they take part in that system? And it didn't sit well with me. And then the question kept boiling in my head, right? Until 2017, when I noticed that there was a narrative about Africa that Africa was poor, right? That Africa had overtaken India to become the poorest. Sorry, that Nigeria, I think, had overtaken India to become the poorest nation in the world. And it didn't sit well with me because the Africa that I know, the Africa that I can see and experience is prosperous. So it made me feel like Africa was not actively shaping conversations around our future, right? And then technology was changing the way the world was operating, was changing the way we connect, was changing the way we access jobs, was changing everything. So it just became important that thinking around these three concepts. Number one, the poverty narrative of Africa. Number two, the influence of technology on the African continent. And number three, right, Africa's prosperous destiny. It just became apparent that I needed to think around the solution for how to change the narrative of about the narrative around Africa being poor by connecting young people to resources that help them explore the digital ecosystem. Now, interestingly, in the year 2020, there was COVID, and then post 2020, we had the Russia Ukraine invasion. And it now became very apparent that this decade, right, in this window of 10 years, if young people who make up more than 65% of Africa's population do not get involved in shaping the narrative about Africa, then we're going to miss it in this decade. So in 2017, I designed the seven phase approach on how I think that young people in the universities would be the next frontier for creating prosperity in Africa. The first was to start with creating a new narrative about Africa. So I wrote an eight-piece article on LinkedIn and Medium, telling a story about reimagining Africa built by young people, fueled by technology, right? And it got over 6,000 people cumulatively reading that. And that influenced me to go into the second phase of my project, which is thinking around how do I drive engagement around this. So I invited 20 leaders from industry, academia, and government to come and have a conversation with me on this my new imagination of an Africa driven by young people, right? And I also had 500 young people across universities join me in that conversation, right? And then the third phase of the plan is thinking that if I can, if I wanted to create sustainable change, I can't just do that with a good theory. I needed good literature. That's why the Christian faith has the Bible, and that's why the Islam faith has the Quran, right? And that's why it was apparent that a book needs to be created. So I wrote a book as well, highlighting these stories, highlighting my thinking around Africa and Russian prosperity this decade. Then I also initiated a policy campaign, right, which was to get young people like you to take in the campaign to contribute to a questionnaire and a petition to kind of give government and academia an idea of the struggles of the everyday young person trying to dream and trying to create the next big thing out of the university. And then the fifth phase, which is where we're in, is to now look for those bright minds across universities. Then the sixth phase is connect them to capital and mentorship through a program. And then the sixth phase is to link them to more growth capital and strategic partnerships with the industry. So that's where we are now, which is what has birthed the Nestlings Playbook project. So the Nestlings Playbook project is a platform to discover young, talented people who want to explore digital entrepreneurship right from the university. And that is why you are here. That is why we started a call for application to look for people who are interested in exploring the digital space through entrepreneurship so that you can apply to get access to resources like mentorship and capital. So that is in short, that is the story of the Nestlings Playbook project. Now, we've done the call for applications and we did across 15 universities because this, I'm calling you on this journey to join me and my team and the Nest, right? To validate this theory that young people from the universities can actually build the next big thing. If Facebook started from the university and most of the startups in the world, or okay, not most of them, but some of them that we know, because I don't know that for a fact, but Jobberman started from the university, right? Those kind of startups have created a model that makes you see that from university stages, you can actually start to build quality startups. It's just like you've not just had anybody believe in you like I can, right? Or anybody support you like I can. Of course, you've had different projects, like the horse prize and all of that. But I mean, beyond that, how is it impacting on the local communities around you? So that is what makes the Nestlings Playbook project special, is that we are trying to incentivize undergraduates to build for the local communities hosting them. Meaning that if a student in Uniben, how can we support you to build a digital solution that impacts Benin City, right? That impacts Edo State, that actually creates prosperity in that state. So not so that we decentralize this Lagos phenomenon and then everywhere becomes the next Lagos, so that there's prosperity everywhere. So we want to create that living environment for you to be able to build the next Facebook, for you to build the next slaughterhouse out of university, but it will impact your local university, your local university, your local community first. So what's the next item, right? The next conversation is, what is this project going to be? So this project is in four phases. There is one called the call for application, right? Which is what we're doing now, and we've gotten 1,500 of you interested in this, right? After now, you are going to be participating in what they call an ideathon. An ideathon just simply means that you are going to be given a project for you to go and work on. So all of you here are leaders. All of you here are supposed to be founders, meaning that you will be required to form your own team. You'll be required to find a project, a problem, and you'll be required to develop a solution around it. Those that are able to complete that will be eligible for participation in the incubator, where we'll be selecting those that will be participating in the incubator and getting $5,000 to $15,000. Right? So it's only those that participate in the ideathon that will be able to participate, that will be able to get access to that funding and incubation program. So after this call for application, we'll do the ideathon. After the ideathon, we'll select finalists that will get into the incubator. After the incubator, we'll create a portfolio of startups from universities to the communities that we are going to be actively supporting strategic partnerships and follow-on funding, right? I know there's a lot of English. That's why this is called an info session, so that you can ask your questions. Now, what are the rules for engagement? Please, please, and please, this is a very serious project. Don't worry, Manny. Don't worry. All of this information will be provided to you. This is just an info session. This is also recorded, so you can always go back and watch. Now, what's going to happen after now? Now, today is the info session. The next thing that we're going to do is the workshop, right? The workshop is going to enable you to have access to all the resources to prepare you for the ideathon, right? It's going to be happening in 2 weeks, I think. Yes, it's not this coming week. Yes, it's happening upper week. So it's going to happen. We're going to be dealing with 7 topics around idea generation, product development, customer segmentation and engagement, fundraising. So you're going to be taught about all of those things, but you're going to be taught in the Nestlings Playbook way, not something you can just get on YouTube or anything, because we're looking for a certain type of startup from universities, the kind of startups that can actually create jobs and create prosperity, meaning access to basic goods and services. So don't worry, forget all that you know, right? But once you have a skill, which is you can either sell or you are technical, meaning that you can code, you can design, then you are in the right place, right? If you can't, you are just a leader, but you want to participate in this, don't worry. The workshop will handle all of that, right? So that's the next thing that I'll be doing. And then I'm just going to round off with this, right? At the end of this project, we want to be able to have talented young people who we can say are building solutions that are unlocking prosperity in Africa, right? That is the goal of all of this. So without further ado, if you have questions, you can raise your hand, or you can just ask them. I'm going to be looking through the chat box right now to get the questions, and then we'll round up for the guys. I said I wanted this. This is supposed to be very short, and I'm also taking notes of your data. So we're doing this across 15 schools. Sorry. Okay. So I can see Barnabas. Okay, I can see Shem. Okay. So yes, favor. Okay, I think I started seeing questions. So before I bring Barnabas on, let me answer from the group. Mani Etu Kudo says, can you please share the roadmap as a PDF document? Yes, it will be shared. Can we pick team members? Yes. So the team member selection is not for only those. No, those who registered here are leaders, meaning you are founders. So your team members don't have to register. Please, your team members should not register. You are the only one that is supposed to be representing your whole team here. Another question is, if you had a startup before. Now, if you had a startup before, you'll be given an opportunity to let us know so that we can recommend you. But this is for those who want to build something. It's like horse price, right? Something according to this scope that we're working with. For those who already have startups, there are communities we can join you to. We're also going to be starting our own startup community, so you can be part of that. But you can still participate here. Just participate. Just think of it like a normal horse price, but this one, there is just a different slant. This project will last for how many months? The incubation will last for 3 months, but this preamble would last between now and December. So all of this, the hackathon will last for about a month or 2 months. By next month is where we'll start. No, we'll start the ideathon by the end of this month. We'll be given 2 months to come up with your idea and products for 1 month, right? Then we'll do a community event where shortlisted finalists will come and pitch to investors. So by November, December, we'll pick finalists that will be getting into the incubation program. The resources available, does it include money? Yes. The resources that participants will be getting access to, right, finalists, is everybody here is competing for access to $5,000, $15,000, right? So that's the initial funding that will be given to students who meet the criteria. Yeah, the workshop will be hybrid. So we'll be providing workstations, right, for those that are shortlisted into the incubation. Although we're also considering to provide workspaces for those participating in the ideathon. But more information will be provided on the WhatsApp group. That's why the WhatsApp group, please be very active on the WhatsApp group. But we didn't open the WhatsApp group because of what is happening here. It will be too rowdy and information will be lost. So the WhatsApp groups are just information centers. Please check your WhatsApp group for time and react so that you don't miss out on information. During the workshop, will there be teaching on programming? No, we will not be teaching on programming, we'll be teaching on product development. So that's why I'm saying one of the requirements will be for you to be a technical co-founder or find a technical co-founder. Don't worry, you'll get all the information when the ideathon is about to start. Just focus on the next thing, which is the upcoming workshop that will teach you about how to participate in this competition and build products. Is the ideathon a competition? Yes, the ideathon is the actual competition, is the real competition that you're applying for. Daniel, would you aid us in finding team members? We will look into that. Can I choose team members who are not students? Good question. We would prefer if your team members are students because the kind of support that we have curated for participants is very tied to you being a student. Emmanuel, must all ideas be digitally inclined since there's more than digital? Fantastic question, Emmanuel. But yes, they must be digitally inclined. But during the workshop session, we'll talk around how digital innovation actually needs business models that are offline. So don't worry. We'll dive into that during the workshop, right? How many winners are expected to emerge from a single university? So there are finalists that we're choosing 4 best ideas, but 15 people will be shortlisted from each school to pitch the idea, but 4 will be accepted. Every other person who comes up with an idea but doesn't make it will be added to the startup community where we'll be giving them follow-on support. But we will not be giving them cash in the initial equity funding. Instead, we can support your fundraising ambitions or link you to communities that do that. For example, I lead different communities where I support startups, but this one is just the one devoted to student startups. I lead consonants community, so you can get support there as well. I can see question here as well. How many winners? Okay, are team members who are not students allowed? No, please. All team members must be students because when you get the funding, you are supposed to actually build while still in school. Is this project science inclined? Thomas is asking if it's science inclined. Yes, but there's nothing that you cannot learn. So if you participate in the workshop, there's a workshop devoted to just teaching you about what we call digital innovation and ideation, right? You don't have to be a science student. You just need to understand the concept. Okay, Abdullah is saying, what of people that have a startup and it's necessary startup will be tech related? Yes, the startup has to be tech related. We're doing with only digital innovation, not businesses, right? That's why we're very clear during the call for application that it's only people with digital skills or digital awareness or digital intelligence that should apply. If you have a food business or anything and you're not planning to explore tech entrepreneurship, then please, this program is not for you so that you not feel lost. You can leave. But if you want to build the next Facebook, the next Flutter with the next Paystack, then this is the project for you. Yes, the idea will be generated. Please, the idea has to be generated during the ideathon because we will be the one to tell you the kind of ideas we want to support, right? So that I'm saying, just calm down. Forget all you know. Just calm down, be present, and be active on the WhatsApp group so that you get all the information, and then you can do that. The pitch session, will it be a live location? Yes, the live location will be close to your school, so there will be no need for you to travel down. And if you are going to be traveling down, we're going to make logistic provisions for that, right? We're going to be doing the community events and pitching across the different 15 schools. We'll give you more information on that as we progress. This will be creating teams with the team members. I think I've answered this question in detail. Chike is saying there are some questions on the YouTube live chat. Okay, thank you so much. I'll respond. Is there a maximum number of ideas that can receive funding from a Playbook project, provided they align with project criteria? Great question, Manny. This is the first edition of this program. So we are only willing to support 60 ideas, which is 4 best ideas from the 15 schools participating. And those from other schools not participating, sorry, not listed, will also be considered specially. No, Victor Odu, that's why we're giving you 2 months. We are not just going to present an idea. We don't do ideas here. We do products. So you're going to be submitting a product, which can be a live product, a Vercel, a Figma presentation, or a wait list of actual customers. Don't worry. When we get after that, I'm saying, don't worry. Just focus on attending the workshop. We'll give you all this information, right, and tell you how to apply for the idea fund. No, please. All teams have to be students. All teams have to be students. The only case we can allow non-students are if they are recent graduates, meaning that they graduated while this program was on, and maybe they are pre-NYC. But although NYC is going to disrupt that because incubation starts next year, January, so it's not going to be very feasible. And this is the first edition of this program, so we're trying to be very lean and all of that. So Shem, yes, all sessions will be online. All workshop sessions will be online, but incubation will be online and offline, meaning that you'll be given a workspace to build your idea from. If I have an idea and I started building the team, but it's not a startup level, where do I stand? I'm sorry, this is not the right place for you. If it's not a startup, if it's not a digital business, we cannot support you. I'm sorry. So it's either you now decide to want to explore this, or you leave the program, please, so that we don't both waste our time. Will the pitching events be live or virtual? No, the pitching events will be live. It will be in your school or somewhere close to your school, right? But the ideathon will be all virtual. But the pitching, where you will be shortlisted, it will be in your school or close to your school. I will come to your school, you meet me, you see me in person. For those of you that might be believing that this is calm, you'll be able to see me, touch me, laugh with me, hug me, and all of that. I'll come to your school. I'll be graduating by October. So Victoria, if you're graduating by October and you will not be doing NYC by early part of next year, you can still participate. So, but if you're a team, if you are the founder, right, and you're still a student, it's fine. But if you have a team member that is a graduate, a recent graduate, meaning they just about to enter NYC or they're in NYC, it's acceptable if they're a team member. But the major founder who we are dealing with has to be a student. The whole project is about supporting students, not graduates, undergraduates. That's who we're looking for. Yes, there'll be legal protection, there'll be legal attachment between completed products. But really, ideas are just ideas, right? If you're having trust issues, then it's okay if you don't participate, right? But yeah, we're not going to steal your ideas. As I said, but yeah, whatever we have legal undertakings to cover conversations like that. Or if you graduate from school, I think I've answered this, Chioma. Is there any Muhammad Mohaza, I don't understand this question. Is there any barrier for ineligibility? Just be a student, and all eligibility criteria will be shared during the workshop and after. Don't worry, Nancy, all the requirements for the idea is that it just needs to be a digital business, a startup, right? I just graduated. You still qualify. I'm sorry, Jesse, you no longer qualify. You can only be attached to someone who is as a team member, but you cannot be the founder because we're supporting only founders that are still undergraduate. Is someone without knowledge computer able to? Yes, you just need to understand digital. Even if you don't understand digital, but you have the attitude and resilience to learn. Through the workshop, you'll be able to learn how to be digitally aware. Oh yes, if you are awaiting admission, you qualify, Daniel, you qualify. It's just that we will need to work with the university closest to your area. So if you are based in Lagos, but you apply to join a school in Uniben, right? If you apply to join Uniben, your admission is in Uniben, you will be linked to Unilag until you get admission to Uniben, and then you'll be realigned to someone to your community in Uniben. When one more than one applicant has the same idea, um, if one you will not be able to have the same idea. You have because you are that's what I'm saying. That's why we don't do ideas here. We do products. You can't have the same products. You might have the same product addressing the same barrier, but your execution is what will set you apart. So if you have an agri-tech idea, right? But somebody has been able to develop an app and is already getting paying customers. We'll select a person over you. Sorry, because we are funding execution and not ideas. Yes, Abel, great, Kantoma. Yes, people from other universities not listed can participate. What's the maximum number per team? I think a 3 to 4 man team, right? Because we're starting very lean, so a 3 to 4 man team is advisable. How many team members from different schools? Yes, you can have team members from different schools, but it might not play to your advantage when we start the program. But it's fine if you do that. It's fine if you do that. Farida says you're graduating by September. I don't think you can still participate. After the entire program, what's next? You, as I said, you'll be hosted as part of our portfolio of startups. What the startup wants to pitch has come out, but it hasn't executed much. Francis, if you need a legal document before beginning the program, then please you can leave the program because there's no legal connection between what you are doing and the program until you actually participate in the program and build something. If you're not comfortable with that, then please feel free to leave. Thank you very much. Would there be any form of PDF that carries the roadmap of the project? Yes, a PDF can be developed, will be developed and shared with you, but that will be during the workshop, right? So that we can download and keep. Don't worry. Yes, don't worry. We'll provide all those resources. Is forex trading? Forex trading is you need to create a product out of that. Forex trading is an enterprise. It doesn't make it a startup. If you can create a startup, After FX is doing forex trading, but the startup is a business. It's not a one-man stuff. Barnabas, yes, people can still register. It's just for me and the team to now recalibrate. I think that is all for now. There are just so many questions, but I think I've addressed most of the concerning ones. Yes, diplomas, graduates. We're not. So if you have admission to a university already, then you can participate. Is the funding equity free? The funding for the project under these Nestle programs are for equity because we're not just providing funding, we're providing other different types of support. If you read the articles, right, you see all of the support that we're providing. So definitely not equity free. It's not a grant. It's an actual venture capital investment. But of course, it will not be too much equity. It will not be over the top equity. It will be a minimum digits under 5%, under 10% equity. All right, but I think it's just fair to discuss equity when you actually are shortlisted. So all of the conversations are only for those who get to the final point. You're studying medicine and surgery, sorry, you're studying medicine and surgery, Vanessa, and will that affect me? No, no, no. Once you can manage your time and participate, that's fine. Otaki is saying, won't it be difficult to understand what we're doing? Yeah, but Otaki, that will be discussed during the workshop, right? All right. Thank you very much for joining the call. I think we're almost Okay, this is 4:50. So I'll just look through more questions. Um, okay, so what is next, right? Yes, Ahmad Shuku says during the ideas we generate based on. No, no, no. So yes, we're going to provide to industries. So industries like in the agricultural sector, agri-tech, education sector, edtech, financial services sector, fintech. So all of those, that's what I'm saying, right? Everyone seems to be asking a lot of questions. So what next are you to do from here? We are going to be organizing a workshop. Just stick to the WhatsApp groups you've been added to. All information will be shared. Yes, Daniel, a day mentorship will be provided. After the incubation, you'll be a part of our portfolio, meaning that we continue to work with you to build the startup to to its greatest potential. There are a lot of questions, right? I might not be able to answer all of it, right? It's just 1 hour and there are over 100 people here, right? But rest assured that in the workshop, um, you'll get another opportunity to participate. And you have champions, right? They've been introduced on the group. You can always reach out to champions to ask questions and they will collate and reach out to us for us to address. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this has been, I hope you're as excited as we are. I know I might not have been able to address everybody's questions, but these are the limitations of working on a project as big as this. But please work with your champions. That's why you have champions. Champions are there to attend to your every need. So you have champions, reach out to them and ask them questions. Don't worry, the recording will be shared. Don't worry. So just rest. Like energy is a lot. Just rest, right? Just rest. Just rest. We will provide adequate information. I can't because no matter all the information I provide for you right now, it will not be relevant until the necessary time when it is needed. So just focus on the next thing, which is stay on the WhatsApp group and then wait for the workshop, which is happening in the next 2 weeks, and participate there. That's all. So thank you so much. I know we are brilliant minds. I know we are excited people. Just breathe and be active, right? I'm just one person. I can't attend to all your questions. I'm have this 1 hour, right? And I'm trying to respect your time and also your data. So don't worry, every other question, just stay on the WhatsApp group. If you have actual questions, reach out to your champions, right? They'll be introduced to you again on the group, right? Um, but don't worry, we'll think around this system to also ensure that we can get your feedback because I understand having a closed group of just reactions might not be very effective. But don't worry. After, as I said, after this info session, yeah, we will create a system around this. Okay, someone is saying, okay, there are questions on YouTube. Let me quickly rush to YouTube before I round up. Okay, where do I find? Okay, so let me see questions on YouTube. I can't see questions on YouTube. Bro. Okay, how do we create a team? Don't worry, you'll be informed. You can't do anything with that information right now until we actually start the workshop. So just calm down. I said, how do we know our team members? You'll be required to go and create your team, right? As I said, just think of it as horse race, where we're just dealing with founders, and then you have to create your team, create your idea, create your product, and then yes, the champions are the admins. But don't worry, just calm down. After this call, everybody will reach out to you again on the group. And yes, don't worry, documents will be provided. You need to have this call first, and then we'll provide all the documents to address all of these questions. All right, so I'll be stopping the recording now. Thank you so much for joining in. It was great to have you and have the energy in the room. We'll see you on the group. Bye. All right, so thank you. Don't worry, documents will be provided. Yeah, thanks for joining in, and I look forward to hosting you at the workshop soon.